ding 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 ding. Wow, how lucky are we to have heard an original recording of some church bells in Norwich in 1543. Absolutely stunning. Welcome back to the final couplet with me, Theo Cowan. It's episode 6. Exciting times. A new sonnet. Will it be the same as sonnet 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5? Or will we finally have a new narrative? It feels unlikely, but one can always hope. Let's get straight into it, shall we? And have a listen to Sonnet 6 by William Shakespeare. Sonnet 6. Then let not winter's ragged hand deface in thee thy summer, ere thou be distilled. Make sweet some vial, treasure thou some place with beauty's treasure ere it be self-killed. That use is not forbidden usury, which happies those that pay the willing loan. That's for thyself to breed another thee, or 10 times happier, be it 10 for 1. 10 times thyself were happier than thou art, if 10 of thine 10 times refigured thee. Then what could death do if thou shouldst depart, leaving thee living in posterity? Be not self-willed, for thou art much too fair to be death's conquest and make worms thine heir. Wow. Again, a bit of a mouthful, that one. I feel like this is very much a continuation on from Sonnet 5. And I know everyone says all of these early sonnets are just one long poem to one guy. And I'm sure they are. But this one really does feel like it's directly linked to Sonnet 5. I mean, it starts with, then let not winter. It's sort of in the middle of a sentence, isn't it? It's like he's carrying on, straight on from Sonnet 5. And it also felt like I was doing a sort of maths exam in the middle of that, doing my 10 times table or something. Loads of stuff about 10. 10 times this, 10 times that, 10 of this. It's a strange decision to have that in the middle of it, and I'm not sure what he's getting at. And I don't think John will get what he means either. Let's dive into this and see if we can make any sense of it. So we start with, then let not winter's ragged hand deface in thee thy summer, ere thou be distilled. So that's really the same as Sonnet 5, isn't it? It's sort of saying that summer is when John's at his best, it's when he's looking his best. And winter is a horrible time of year. I mean, it's like summer is youth and winter is old age, and when you get decrepit and, well, defaced, ragged in this case. Then he goes on to say, make sweet some vial, treasure thou some place with beauty's treasure ere it be self-killed. Now here, I think it sort of sounds like a roundabout way of saying, go and sow your seed, doesn't it? Make sweet some vial. Is that saying a woman is a vial that you need to sow your seed into? Treasure thou some place with beauty. Treasure thou some place. I think it's all a sort of, well, it's not innuendo, is it? I mean, it's just a way of saying go and impregnate a woman. It's not very nice, but I guess it's nicer than saying go and impregnate a woman. It's just a bit more flowery, isn't it? Or else, go and impregnate a woman, or else, again, you won't have a kid, and that's going to be horrible for all of us. Then he goes on to say, that use is not forbidden usury, which happies those that pay the willing loan. That's for thyself to breed another thee, or 10 times happier, be it 10 for 1. So, again, was it Sonnet 4 or 3 or 4 that he does the whole banking thing and lending and usury and loaning? He's gone back to that anyway, because I guess he got bored of the summer and winter stuff. So he's gone for the tried and tested loaning, payment. And here he's saying, by the looks of it, it's going to be lovely for you to have a kid, and actually you'll be happy. Imagine how happy you'd be if you had 10 kids. Because 1 kid you'd be happy, but 10 times that happiness. So that's really happy. 10 is a lot of kids. I wonder why he went for 10. Interesting. 10 times thyself were happier than thou art, if 10 of thine 10 times refigured thee. This is the bit that really sounds like a maths exam. If John had 10 kids, take away 10 plus 10, how many kids does John have? It's very strange. But I think, he liked the idea. When he said 10, he went, oh, yeah, that's good. I'm onto something here. So he says, you'll be 10 times happier if you have 10 kids. It's amazing. You'd definitely be happier than you are now with no kids, that's for sure. Then what could death do if thou shouldst depart, leaving thee living in posterity? And now we're back to the tried and tested, have a kid. But here he's saying, you'll be able to trick death if you have a kid. Can you imagine? Because you will live on through your kids. So take that, death. And then, of course, the final couplet, summing it all up. Be not self-willed, for thou art much too fair to be death's conquest and make worms thine heir. So this is sort of linking in to the last 2 lines, going, you're way too hot. And this has been a theme of all of the sonnets so far. You are way too hot to die, and the only thing you leave behind is worms. Can you imagine? That would be so sad and pathetic, really. Another cracking poem from Shakespeare. Again, not holding any punches. I think I preferred Sonnet 5 personally. It had less of the sort of times tables and 10 of this, 10 of that. And it seemed to have more sort of imagery than this. This was again straight to the point. It's like he's got pissed off. 5, he tried to get a bit creative with the seasons, and then he started this one off with the seasons again, but he was like, oh, forget it, let's just cut to the chase again, shall we? Right. Let's see how this sonnet fits into the story so far. If you remember, Shakespeare had got his wife to read Sonnet 5 to John, pretending that she was going on a date with John. And then she got up and she read Sonnet 5 to him. And that is where our story ended last time. Shakespeare's wife finished reading Sonnet 5 to John. She looked up from her little parchment to see what John's reaction was. He was staring at her, wide-eyed, just above John, in the background, she could see a man. And that man was William Shakespeare. He had crept into the pub and was hiding behind a group of drunkards. And he was beckoning, he was saying, come here, to his wife. And she looks back at John, and John says, sorry, are you distracted? And she said, no, I just, what did you think of the poem? And he said, well, actually, it reminds me a lot of some sonnets that a friend of mine has written. It's very strange, actually. And she said, oh, really? That's odd. And she can see Shakespeare in the background beckoning her, saying, come over here, come here. And she said, sorry, excuse me, I've just got to go to the toilet. Do you mind? And he said, no, that's fine, that's fine. And she said, when I come back, we can talk all about it. He said, okay, I'd like to talk to you about that poem and how you came to writing it and why you read it to me, in fact. And she said, yes, of course, all in good time. And she hurries off to Shakespeare at the back of the pub. And he says, come, sit down. Shh. Don't let him see you. How did it go down? And she said, I don't know, Bill. I mean, he was maybe taking to the season stuff, and he said, okay, excellent. So while you were reading that, I quickly wrote Sonnet 6. And she said, what do you mean? He said, I've written Sonnet 6. I just scribbled it down because I thought Sonnet 5 was quite good and I was onto something. So I thought, oh, why not? Let's just write Sonnet 6. And she said, okay. And he said, so I'll give this to you now, and then you go back and read that to him as well. And she said, I'm not sure about this, Bill. I don't think he wants to hear another poem. And Bill said, of course he does. Sonnet 5 was brilliant. We were getting through to him. You said it yourself. And she said, do you think you've maybe rushed into this one a bit? Is it as good as the others? Because I thought, Sonnet 5 was good, but 4 and 3, I'm not sure about them. He said, yes, it's good. It's brilliant. He's going to love this one. She said, fine, I'll do it for you. And Bill says, thank you. You're gorgeous. I love you. And she said, yeah, I love you too, Bill. And she takes the little parchment with Sonnet 6 scribbled on it. Lots of crossing out and scratched notes. And she returns to John. John says, okay, so you're going to tell me why you decided to read that poem to me that sounded a lot like a lot of other poems that have been read to me recently? And she says, just shush for 1 second, because I haven't actually finished that poem. I was just taking a toilet break, but now I'm back and I need to finish it. He said, okay. And she said, will you just let me finish it, because I think you're going to like the second half. And John sighs reluctantly and accepts to hear the second part. Shakespeare's wife clears her throat and reads Sonnet 6. Sonnet 6. As I was saying, don't let horrible old age get to you before you've had lots of sex whilst you're still hot. Go and impregnate a woman, why don't you? You'd be so happy if you had a kid. Come to think of it, you'd be even happier with 10 kids. With 10 kids, you'd be 10 times happier, in fact. If you had kids now, you would be able to cheat death because you'd live on through your kids. Don't be an idiot. You're way too sexy to die and only leave behind some worms. Wow. Actually, having translated that, it's pretty brutal. Another sonnet down. Another sonnet read to John. Poor old John. How many more can he go through? How many more before he decides he has to have a kid? There's no way he doesn't have a kid after hearing all of this. He's being peer pressured into it. It's a real horrible story, in fact. And you know what? If he did eventually have kids, does anyone remember John? No. Does anyone talk about John? No. So it was all pointless. Anyway, until next week. Bye-bye. Ding 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 ding.